one of the biggest stories by far of President Trump's first 4 weeks back in office has been the funding freeze that he put on USAID, the United States Agency for International Development. You also hear it called USAID. The terms are kind of used interchangeably. But since this group's founding in 1961, it spiraled completely out of control. It's been used by communists, by freaks, by genocidal lunatics to fund their own self-interests, their own pet projects, the interests of their creditors all over the world, with countless billions of dollars, U.S. tax dollars, by the way, going wherever they want. These people have a blank check to do whatever the hell they want with U.S. government money, which is derived, of course, from the American people. So obviously, they need to be put on the chopping block. They need to be chopped up. USAID needs to be gone. It needs to be completely abolished. But still, for decades, the government and its associates, they've used USAID as a means to fund malign, anti-American, really anti-human activity all over the world. And unfortunately, although I wholeheartedly agree with the plans to defund USAID, President Trump's first administration was no exception to the USAID sham. Billions of dollars of this money flowed from 2017 to 2021, and after that, with financial commitments they've made that were good for years down the road. Under Trump, USAID gave more than $1 billion to a Bill Gates-funded vaccine alliance called Gavi, which has played a central role in pushing COVID jabs and other vaccines worldwide, especially in the third world. And we all know what happens when these types of people go marching into sub-Saharan Africa or marching into some impoverished Asian country or some impoverished Eastern European country. I mean, they completely mutilate the native population, the local population. They unleash hell on these people in the names of vaccines and experimentation or whatever the hell they want to call it. So look, this information, this is extremely disturbing, to say the least. And as our government organs are gutted, as these gravy trains are gutted, we're going to have an honest discussion in this country about where this money was going, no matter who the president was when it got sent out. Even if it was the guy that we've been told is coming to ride in on a white horse and chop USAID at the knees and give us all our money back and, defund all of these ridiculous government agencies. We need to know where this money has gone, and we need to know the repercussions of programs and cash dumps just like this one. And by the way, it is important to note that since President Trump's USAID funding freeze was put in place, Bill Gates has been lobbying personally to President Trump and to Chief of Staff Susie Wiles to keep this gravy train going. He's been meeting with the White House and saying, hey, even if you chop this program, find a way to give us our money. Can you do that for me? He's got the inside track and he's working it. Again, John Koutouris is with us. He's been following this story, and I'm going to kick it back over to John of Greek News on Demand for some more discussion and share some more information. John?
So basically, we all remember that Trump earlier this year met with Bill Gates at Mar-a-Lago in Florida, where he wined him and dined him. What's Donald Trump doing meeting with this mass murder? Well, let me explain. First of all, in the spring of 2020, Donald Trump started Gavi, along with Bill Gates, United Nations, to vaccinate everyone and to hopefully kill everyone. And the few main people they turn into robots based on artificial intelligence, so on and so forth. This is all a World Economic Forum plan. Bill Gates has come out and said that Donald Trump at that time fully was on board with this program and so on and so forth, okay? And Donald Trump has not once disputed or refuted Bill Gates on this, okay? Trump, when Biden got in illegally in 2021, which Trump did absolutely nothing about, and he let all the J6 prisoners sit in prison and rot for 4 years, okay? In the beginning of 2021, Trump started going on all the big networks, particularly Fox News, and started bragging about the fact that he's the father of the vaccine. He saved millions of lives, which is garbage. Millions of lives have been destroyed or have been terminated because of him. So going back to USAID, first of all, Elon Musk has taken millions of dollars himself from USAID in order to create and send satellites, fake satellites, over to the Ukraine. This started back in 2022, okay, which is something he's not telling us about. Starting in the beginning of 2017, when Trump first became president, Gavi was already being vetted to receive major funds from the U.S. aid, and that's according to a information bulletin that was published by USAID.gov back in the beginning of 2017, which states USAID's investment to Gavi, the Gavi Vaccine Alliance, and so on and so forth, where Gavi starts saying we're cooperating with Trump's government to roll out the vaccines for future pandemics. How'd they know there was going to be a future pandemic, right? But we don't stop there, because in the summer of 2018, Donald Trump did a press conference with his cute little blonde press secretary at the time, I forget her name, where they both said unequivocally, there's going to be a pandemic and we're preparing for it, and we already got a vaccine program ready to roll out. That was in 2018. And then, as if this wasn't enough, Trump signed an executive order in September of 2019, which was for the creation and the rolling out of mRNA vaccines, folks. And on the 15th of September that year, 2019, Fauci had a big conference with the Chinese where they discussed mRNA vaccines. The very next day, Trump had on his desk an executive order, which he signed, which called for the creation of mRNA vaccines. This was pre-pandemic. This is when nobody even knew anything about coronavirus or COVID-19. How did they know that there was going to be this pandemic? And how did they know to roll out vaccines to combat it? And if this was such a danger at that time, why did they not tell us at that time that there's going to be a pandemic and we need to prepare for it? We need to have vaccines. They weren't telling us at that time in the fall of 2019. They would tell us all this months later. This is all pre-planning, criminal pre-planning on the part of all of them. They're criminals. They all need to be arrested and tried for this great crime against humanity.